We are live. Alexis is here. We are live on Spoon, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. Um, yeah, maybe even LinkedIn. Who knows? But thank you all for being here this morning and welcome to Morning Journal. I am your host, G, and we do this every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. And I know for a lot of you who are listening in live, you're still up from last night. A handful of you over the course of the stream will be joining in as maybe you resume your schedule back at work. You said G-Spec, it's been a while, homie. Yeah, I'm not recognizing that username. Are we working with a new username? Oh, okay, I see. Avo, welcome in. Oh, all right. It's good to see you this morning. My family that came from out of town, my aunt that came from out of town just left about an hour and a half ago. And folks have, is getting back to normal. Folks are going back to work. But it was a nice weekend. Had a lot of fun, played a lot of games, got on that daggone Oculus. You know, here's the disappointing thing about the Oculus is if you have poor vision, then rip, because you can't necessarily get the full VR experience if you wear glasses and you need your glasses to see. Um, Playing with the Oculus, and it's a little bit of a diminished experience. The only game that I could really get into on there was Beat Saber, which is basically it's a game where you basically have to slice or chop these cubes that come towards you as music plays onto a beat. So it was cool, just because it's almost like DJing, because it's like a dance game. But I can understand how, if I could see better, I might have been able to explore a few more things. Berlin says after a while it gets boring. Well, I think if you are, that's probably true of any game, but I didn't get bored with it as much as I got frustrated with my inability to see clearly enough to perform well at the advanced levels. But in terms of games that happen in the real world, as a part of my real experience, we played Skip-Bo, Phase 10, Uno Flip, um, this weird tic-tac-toe game from Sweden that I can't remember what you call. Um, I'd have to look at it, but it's this kind of weird three-dimensional tic-tac-toe. And that was pretty cool. Shout out to Aunt Capone joining in over on YouTube. Top of the morning to you, sir. Eso says, did you adjust it to your vision? Well, it wasn't clear to me how to do that. um, because it's my cousin's set, and all right. Okay. Enough of my weekend game playing. Why don't we check in this morning? Yeah, Alexis, for sure. I'll post a picture in the Discord of all the games that we played this weekend. So why don't we get into kind of checking in together? And a good way to, yeah, let's do this. And so says, yeah, they have an adapter for people who wear glasses. I think that, yeah, it's somebody else's set. And like for me, my glasses are, I don't know, you've seen me. So my glasses are kind of oversized, so it wouldn't kind of work for that. You know, and I know that they have like lenses that you can put in, but I was playing as a guest. So Abby says I need to get glasses. I keep procrastinating on setting up an appointment. Well, we're talking about procrastination all week. That is sort of the theme, or at least for the first few days this week. Um, that's sort of kind of what we're working with, because I think that a lot of people set up New Year's resolutions, right? And that's it's cool, but I think there's some kind of foundational work that is necessary before you set up these resolutions. There might be some underlying issues that you want to address, so that you might have a better chance of being successful and getting some of those resolutions to stick. So we're spending this last week of the year kind of breaking apart some of the dynamics around procrastination. Now open up the request box. We got in the background right now. Let us know how you're feeling. A 1 out of 10. So in the chat, Vita Hermosa says, I feel a 3. My daughter has COVID and I'm coming down with something, but so far I've tested negative twice. Well, we definitely wish you a speedy recovery for your daughter, and hopefully everything will work out. That's kind of a bummer. So we got my cousin Adame is listening in over on Facebook. It's good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for all the cake. Cousin Adame came across, it's just 2 doors down. My Aunt Ida lives 2 doors down. And we didn't have a lot of cakes this year. We had pies, but not a lot of cakes. And Cousin Adame says, y'all want cake? And then Tony, somebody else who y'all don't know, I'm saying names of people y'all don't know, but Tony packed up like 5 plates full of variety of cakes. And we still got a couple slices, just a couple, because we had a lot of people here. But I appreciate that. Yeah. So we checking in, let us know. Ann Capone is sitting at a 10 this morning. I hope that things are going well for you. Um, and you're probably back on the grind. If you're listening in, you're probably back on that grind. So I hope you had a happy holiday. Got a chance to spend time with the fam. Noble Ancient is in the building. What's up, Noble Ancient? Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's see what we got. Alexis is sharing that right now I feel about an 8 out of 10. I caught a cold in Washington State, but lately have spent tons of time with Noble. So you're feeling loved. I'm glad that y'all made it back safely from your trip. And, I know that was a big move and you probably created a lot of memories. Vita Hermosa says you're going to try to sleep. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you have a good day, that your daughter and you recover well. And Capone sends his prayers. So right now, Noble Ancient is feeling optimistic. 9 out of 10. Feeling optimistic. It's great to be coming into this final week of the year with a bright outlook, feeling good, optimistics, ready to tackle whatever is coming up for you. So Abby says, I think I'm a 6 or 7, just been a little stressed, but very happy and feeling blessed. Feeling happy and blessed is a great way to feel, a great way to start your experience of the week. All right. Shout out listening in on YouTube, 50 subs away from 2K. for the kids. So I imagine you're feeling pretty good about that. If y'all aren't subscribed and you're on YouTube, make sure you follow DT TV if you like games and gaming content. He'll take you through some gameplay. The last video I saw was it Rocket League, playing through. So SO is sitting at about a 3. I'm hungry and loopy. Well, SO, hopefully we can get a little something to eat at least, and that might take care of the loopiness as well. So my cousin Idame says, I'm feeling blessed to have seen my family, feeling thankful, 7 out of 10. It's always great to catch up with folks. I think that even more so now than ever, we appreciate the opportunity to see folks face to face. I know for me, my uncle, who I haven't seen, I can't remember the last time I saw my Uncle John. He came through with his wife, and it was cool to see everybody. Now, for me personally, I will admit, I love seeing folks a lot. I would prefer to see folks like 2 or 3 at a time so we can kind of really sit down and talk. But it's kind of, it's kind of hard to work that out. So I don't know. We had, probably about 20 people in the house, which is, is a lot. It's kind of overwhelming, and it's a big old show. And we loud, in case you didn't know. But absolutely great to see people. All right. And so it's like, yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of us though, Um, it's a lot of us, so that's just the way it goes. We are a fruitful family, I guess you would say. All right, let's see. We about 15 minutes in. Are y'all ready to get into our first prompt? The first prompt of our conversation today. I want to kind of set it up though. It's not as heavy as it sounds on the surface. I know it sounds heavy, but I want to give a little bit of context before we jump into it. All right. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are going to be having conversations about procrastination, and the way that it kind of shows up in our behavior and in our life and experience. In today's part of this conversation, I want to kind of reestablish or reaffirm the fact that we are not what we do. So sometimes we might be existing in a pattern that that's not necessarily that positive, or not necessarily taking us in the direction that we want to go, but we get kind of caught in these patterns of behavior. But those patterns are not who we are. Who we are is sitting outside of that, and we can observe those patterns with curiosity rather than judgment. I think that it's easy to beat yourself up when you recognize you're not doing what you quote unquote supposed to do. But I think the new year is a point of reflection and reorientation and recommitment for a lot of folks. So, we can look at how things have gone and imagine how they can be better, and then resolve to make those changes. So everyone is kind of in that mode, or a lot of people are in that mode. But the thing is, it's kind of rare that we can keep that same energy, the energy that we feel when we make these commitments. We start writing these checks with our words that, we're not going to feel like doing it later. That's just the way it is. And I'm not against, making those commitments, but I think there are a few things that we can do, in preparation to help some of those more important resolutions actually stick for us. I believe that the same issues that underlie, the problems that we experience with procrastination, I think a lot of people can relate to putting some things off. they also threaten our ability to build the momentum to maintain the long-term transformations that we're looking to accomplish as we go into the new year. So these conversations for this week and specifically today, we want to frame them in the context of maybe think of some things that you feel like you might have been putting off, some commitments that you have not fully leaned into, and we'll keep those in mind as we go to what is the first prompt of the day. So here we go. So, what are you struggling with right now? What are you struggling with right now? So I know that you might have a whole list, and it might seem a little bit overwhelming to think about what the struggles are, but I just invite you to, again, look at it not with a sense of judgment and self-criticism. Look at it with a sense of curiosity and openness to the possibility that those struggles can be addressed in a way that, that it can be resolved. What are you struggling with right now? So for Aunt Capone, that struggle is changing jobs. Got the job, so you're dealing with that transition. And I can understand how that can be a source of a lot of stress. There's a lot of uncertainty when you make that move, getting a new gig and getting settled into that. That's definitely a big one. So changing jobs is the struggle right now, for sure. All right, let's see what we got here. So my cousin Adame says the struggle right now is wanting to retire. So I mean, I know, there's a few years left, and as you get closer to that finishing line, it becomes more and more, it becomes more and more front of mind. Like, am I all set up and I'm all ready to go? Okay, let me reset the box for y'all. Sorry. I was wondering, like, ain't nobody saying nothing? It's my bad. Appreciate you for helping me out there, Alexis. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of different things when you work in a job or have a career that span a big chunk of your adult life, and then you start looking at what's the next chapter going to look like. Sometimes the closer you get, you're like, man, it can be a little scary. So I can definitely appreciate that. And I think one of the things that some of the things that are kind of underappreciated about major transitions, is a lot of times our identity is wrapped up in the work that we do. And it's sort of like you're known for that. You have your community of people, and you derive a lot of your personal satisfaction from the value that you're able to create and the connections that you have with other people, especially when you're in a situation where you're providing care. As difficult as work is, there is a certain level of satisfaction that comes along with knowing that you've been able to improve the quality of somebody's life. So, like, where am I going to get that? Where am I going to get that sense of satisfaction, and where am I going to make my contribution valuable? So Aunt Capone says, you transition out of your career as a chef. So now you got to figure out what's next. So Esso says, I'm struggling with paranoia. Esso is struggling with paranoia. Hmm. Well, Esso, I know that you partake in plant medicine. I don't know if there's any correlation between your current combination of plant medicines that might be contributing to that. So I don't know. That's an interesting one. Someone anonymously is sharing that I'm currently kind of struggling with my body image. I really want to lose weight, but I don't have enough self-discipline. So body image. Kim is here. Kay Valerise is here. Welcome in, folks. It's good to have you this morning. Right now, we're starting out with a little bit of a conversation about the things that we're struggling with, sort of as an entry point into maybe what do we want to work on over the course of the session here. It's great to see you, Kim. I always appreciate your energy here. So for Esso, those trust issues are back. Our cousin Adame's got to go to work. Well, thank you for popping in for a few minutes. You know, it's always great to see you. Okay, Valerise, just want to show some love because just got done working out. That's what's up. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the likes. All right, so for No More Ancient, with the holidays in effect and Armistice games closed until January 3rd, wanting to build games is my main struggle. I could build games, but I also want to enjoy the holiday too. So you're like, don't know how to, you're on break, but you're thinking about work. So not being able to shut it down has been a struggle for you. Well, I think the fact that you're excited to get back to it is probably good. You'll come back re-energized and ready to go. And I think that anytime you can get caught in anytime you get caught in a situation where you're doing creative work, there's a little bit of fear that if you aren't constantly working on it, that you're going to miss out on something. There's a fear of losing ideas or losing momentum. I think that that's a valid concern, but I think also you might find that if you are able to just unplug and step away, that there might be some unique ideas that would not have come had you just stayed buried in the process. Welcome in, Cuddle Thug. Thank you for joining us this morning. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. So Esso follows up on the content, on the conversation about the paranoia, says that, you know, you just became more aware of these trust issues. Okay, I can dig that. Thank you so much for the like, Cuddle Thug. I appreciate it. So Kay Valerise is struggling with the fact that sleep won't come. So a lot of us have some issues with getting sleep and kind of regulating our rest schedule. I can definitely resemble that remark. But not right now, though. I think I had the one night where we stayed up real late playing games, and then I was kind of zonked the next day, and pretty much used last night to get myself back on schedule. So I'm feeling pretty good with the sleep. So Alexis says that I'm currently struggling with severe urges to relapse into my eating disorder. Being sick only exasperates that. So I guess it can be difficult to, there's certain times when it's more difficult to manage your eating, and you're going through that now. I'm glad that you do have the support of someone around that can help you make good choices for yourself. Cuddle Thug says, I'm exhausted with my current job, trying to find another that fits all the financial and emotional needs. So looking for that change. I think that, yeah, there's been a lot of shifting for folks in terms of their choices of job and career, um, a lot of dissatisfaction. But if there ever was a good time to make a change, I think it's now. It seems like there's a lot of opportunities out there, um, and folks looking for good folks. I don't know you, Cuddle Thug. I'm assuming you good folks since you ain't here and you're participating. But I do wish you luck in that endeavor of, finding some suitable. I think recognizing that you don't have to settle for a bad situation and having the courage to step out and do something that is more suitable to you and more fruitful for what you're trying to create in your life is an admirable thing. So I know Ann Capone, who is listening over on YouTube, recently made a bit of a career transition. And, I think it's a matter of comfort zone. At some point, even if you don't enjoy something, if you don't, particularly care for a job, even, you at least know how to do it, you know what to expect, and it can be something that you're familiar with. And we can get caught in that trap of comfort and familiarity, and the years can tick and the time can tick. And we experience less joy than was possible for us had we had the courage and ability to step out. So hopefully this year coming up is going to bring some positive changes for you in that area. So once again, our conversation, the question is what you're struggling with right now. And we want to try to focus as we go forward in the conversation. We want to look at a specific area where you think about something that you're struggling with where procrastination is at the root of that struggle, or there's something. I mean, there's an emotion. Sometimes we have these emotional and mental things that we can't put our hand on, or there's steps that we need to take, but somehow we can't take to address the struggle. And then there's some things that we feel like we're completely powerless to affect. Whether that's true or not, I don't, only but chances are, even if it's a difficult situation, you have at least a few small steps that you can try to face to turn it in a different direction. So we're going to spend a few minutes going forward in the next prompt to help us rediscover some of the power that we have to impact these types of situations. So if we're ready to get into that, go ahead and drop me a heart in the chat and we can pull up the next prompt. It's like, yeah, let's get off of this one. All right. Okay. So let's start building the case for ourselves. And we'll build the case by reflecting on Let's tell a story about a time you accomplished something that made you feel proud. You accomplished something that made you feel proud. That is the question of the moment. So let's see. I think that, anytime we're in a situation, we're in the middle of a situation where we don't necessarily feel um, like we have, um, maybe we're in a difficult phase of a project or having a hard time stringing together enough wins in our personal life that can give us a positive trajectory in our day. It's important to kind of reinforce our sense of what they call personal efficacy, the sense that you have power to make, impactful decisions in your life, that you're at least in the driver's seat and you are the main character in your own existence. Um, and there's no personal victory that's too small to celebrate. You know, it's important that we acknowledge all of these victories, however they come up and however they show up. And we're not doing it in kind of a superficial, like everybody is a winner sense, because this is about, because I think that part is kind of about outside validation. You don't have to prove yourself you don't have to prove the value of these wins to anyone. This is a private, personal victory. So for Aunt Capone, um, Aunt Capone moved from being on the couch and in pain to working 2 jobs. So he regained his ability to get out and provide for his family. And I think when I met Aunt Capone, he was dealing with an injury. And it was unclear exactly how that was all going to play out. So being able to get your health back to the point where you can get out and work and kind of regain some of the esteem that comes from being the person that you intend to be for your family. I know that's a huge and important accomplishment worth feeling proud about. So I definitely congratulate you on that. So for Noble Ancient says, the time I had an accomplishment I felt proud of was when I tried a new technique in building Random Dungeon, which is a game that Noble Ancient is working on, and having it come out better than first expected. It was a huge victory for me. So being willing and open to trying something new and then have that new thing work out, that is a very gratifying experience. So congratulations on that. It gives you the courage to step out and continue to experiment and try new things. So I love that for you. Peachy Michi Bex, welcome in. It's good to see you this morning. I know Esso is breathing a sigh of relief since there's some managerial assistance, here. It's good to see you this morning. So Peachy Michi is struggling with feeling stuck. Yeah. What has you feeling stuck? In what areas of your life would you say that feeling of stuckness is showing up the most? So Esso says the small win was I got my computer fixed, which means I reached out for help. Reaching out for help is a hard thing to ask for, right? Because we have this thing, a variety of things that kind of stand in the way for our willingness to ask for help. Maybe there's a little bit of pride. Maybe there's a little bit of not wanting to be a problem for someone else. So taking the step to realize that you're not alone and actually going out and seeking the assistance that you deserve is definitely something to be proud of. So Peachy Michi says you just feeling stuck, like you're not really moving that much. I'm sorry that you feel like that. That's, you know, there's seasons. There's seasons, and sometimes you move a little, sometimes you move a lot. Hopefully, as you kind of reflect, there might be some things that you can unwind about that experience that can help you make today a little bit better than yesterday. Hannah is here. Good morning, Hannah. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Spoon. If you have questions about the app or questions about what's going on here, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask us. School folks in here, we're glad to have you, and we'll be glad to help you get oriented. Thank you so much for the like specs. I really appreciate it. Aunt Capone is in solidarity with Noble in wishing you well, and in solidarity with Esso in understanding how difficult it is to ask for help. So right now, what we're doing is, even when you're in a place where you feel stuck, when you feel powerless or beat down in some way, when we can take a moment to acknowledge and remember a time, like Michael Jackson, remember the time. Remember the time, or remember a time when you did feel and experience a level of power and efficacy in your life, when you were able to move, when you did feel good about a decision that you made. No matter how small the win, it's worth acknowledging those, because what we're doing is we're building a case against that inner critic and that self-defeating talk that keeps us trapped in a box that's too small for our big selves. And also, as a reminder for anyone, everyone, if you're new, you can always, if you're listening in on Spoon, you can swipe the chat over to the right, and then it disappears, and you can just take a screenshot, and then you can have this prompt as something that you can come back to at a later time. Sometimes it's difficult to answer these questions off the cuff and in the moment. And even if you do have an answer immediately, it's worthwhile to come back to it and maybe think a little bit more deeply about it. And maybe sometimes it's none of our business and you don't want to share it, which is perfectly fine. Maybe it's something that you want to reflect on privately. And I encourage you to use this as a space for private reflection. Just listen in. You don't even have to talk. Just write it down and just kind of vibe with us. Sonic is here. It's good to see you this morning. Sonic, I hope that you had a great weekend. All right. So we want to come from a place of power, and we do that by acknowledging the fact that we can win and that we have won at some point. And if we did it before, it's not necessarily the case that we can do it again, but at least we've done it before. And, and it's not about the trophies or anything like that. If you have won something, if you did experience in some sort of recognition for something that you achieved from the outside, you have to remember that, what most matters is what is important to you. So, yeah, even if it's like, okay, I got up and I made my bed and made myself a nice breakfast. I treated myself with a little bit of care and respect. When you're in a down place, those wins count huge because it's all about building momentum. So don't be afraid to include things like that in your reflection as well. So So I want to take the conversation a little bit deeper and just kind of, again, point our orientation. We started with things that we're struggling with. And when we feel stuck and when we feel like we're struggling, it might be difficult to even imagine a time and place and space where things are better. But I want to, as we get ready to go to the next prompt, I'm going to reset the box now. Oh, wait a minute. We have another reply. So for Alexis, at the beginning of Normal, um, you accomplished something by writing 1,580 words in 2 chapters in 1 day. Yeah, it's just evidence of how you are when you're in the zone and at your best. So even if you're not in that zone right now, you know that it's possible. You know how you can get down when you're in it, and that can give you a little bit of confidence, a place to get back to. Okay, here we are. So for the next prompt, we are going to kind of zoom out a little bit. Honest is here. Good morning, Honest. Good to see you this morning. Hope things are going well. I want to, yeah, we're glad to have you. You're joining in as we're about to expand our conversation about sort of the things that are possible. We just talked about looking back at a moment that we're proud of, something that we achieved that we are proud of as a way to kind of set ourselves up and get our mindsets turned towards possibility rather than lack. So now we want to talk about looking at, kind of generally speaking, possibilities, opening our eyes up to new possibilities. So thinking about the question, what's possible for you now that would not have been possible 5 years ago? So whether that's that new possibility could be a result of something that you've learned, new skills that you've developed, an increased depth or breadth of connections that you've made with other people. There might be some new tools that are just available that weren't available 5 years ago. So it could be something just technically, physically, you couldn't have done before. You might have experienced some growth. So when you're feeling stuck, like the way that Peachy Mishi was talking about, when you're feeling stuck and anxious and stressed, it can shrink down your field of vision. And you end up kind of fixating on all the things that feel out of reach for you. But expanding your view of what's possible can breathe new life and energy into your daily experience. Just acknowledging the things that are possible now and trying to get a bead on the way that you've grown is a great way to, put some air in your lungs. And you're like, okay, maybe there's something that's available to me that I wasn't willing to accept as a possibility. There are things that you might be judging as bad in your current experience. And it's true that those things might actually be bad. What's bad in your life doesn't cease to exist just because you change your attitude. There's some stuff that's got to be done. But there are also some things that are true at the same time. So even when we are fixated on the bad things that are going on in our lives, it's important to recognize the possibilities as being an alternative thing to put our attention towards. So let me open up the request box and see where you guys might take this prompt. And for example, I think that, okay, having a conversation like this with a group of people on a daily basis 5 years ago, so 5 years ago would have been what, 2016? I didn't even have the inclination of doing anything like this. So sometimes, sometimes it's just like, oh, this is a new tool, a new thing that we can do, a new way that we can get together. Sometimes it's a book Like for me, there are books that I've read over the last 5 years that kind of shifted the way that I saw the world. I've met some people. So I met a professor from the University of Maryland that kind of changed my life in terms of giving me an opportunity to work on bigger projects. Um, and that was as a result of just kind of consistently showing up where I was. So there's a lot of new things that are open to me. And I'm sure that I'm sure that there's things that are true for you if you take a second to think it through. So Peachy Michi said, I've had kids and tried to build my confidence and my passions and my body over the last 5 years. Yeah. So I'm wondering what passions, if there's a specific passion that you're willing to share with us, Peachy Michi, there's something that you're really into that you have a deeper appreciation for now. What would that be? So Ann Capone over on YouTube says that, you know, opening your mind to new things is possible now. Opening your mind to new things. Berlin's got to record today. So, okay, get your mind right. So Peachy Michi says, I just feel like I'm confused to be a young adult. I've been cooking and baking and painting and doing woodwork. So you're just doing all kinds of making a lot of things. Well, it's great to make things. There's something really satisfying about doing things, creating things that exist in the real world, as opposed to just having those ephemeral conversations and those digital artifacts that you can't put your hands on. So I can understand how that's something that can spark your passion and that you can be excited about. So what's possible for Alexis that may not have been possible was their ability to admitting my own shortcomings and how emotionally unstable and emotionally unintelligent I was. Emotions controlled me back then, and I felt I had no control. I now know better. So now you feel a greater sense of control over your emotional states. And that is a great place to be, Peachy Michi. I concur. It's a great place to be. Noble Ancient says the possibilities now for me include growth in magnitude, new skill sets, techniques, traits, and recognitions that 5 years ago had no connection. We were just starting. Yeah, I think that it is so often the case that we forget what it felt like when we were just starting, you know? And we don't recognize that growth unless we actually take stock. There are things that come easily to us now that we would have struggled with a long time ago. But we forget that. And when we recognize that growth, it gives us the same, we can have the confidence when we feel that uneasy thing when we're starting something new. We know that we can get past it because we've got past it before when we recognize how much we could grow. So, absolutely. And Capone's talking about that growth. I know there's going to be a lot of growth for Ant in this new position. It's hard when you got something down pat You can almost do it with your eyes closed in. Okay, well, let me go into something new where I'm going to be wobbly on my legs a little bit for a while. I might not look good doing it, but in the long run, it might be something that's better for me. So we are, in reality, we are existing in a world of ever expanding possibilities, even with the headwinds of the difficult things that are happening around us in the world. There's always, there's tragedies around us all the time. There are lots of things that we need to work on to make the world better. And, our ability to do so is increasing at a faster rate than ever before if we can kind of open our eyes to those possibilities. So Alexis is sharing that it took a lot of self-work to gain more emotional intelligence, to recognize how I feel, and also learn I can control my actions based on my emotions. George Viega is here. Welcome in, George. Thanks for joining us this morning. And Capone says, hell yeah. Oh man, and I love it. I love it. So what is possible for you now that would not have been possible 5 years ago? I think I was in a relationship 5 years ago, and not being in a relationship, there's definitely some downsides to that. But there's probably some things that I can do. I got a little more flexibility with my time that, I could do some different stuff. So Peachy Michi asks an interesting question. What do you do to pick yourself up on your worst days? No recommendations, just your experience. That's a great question. On my worst days, well, I think that what kind of sustains me, honestly, is this. I've had a lot of difficulties over the last 8-9 months of doing this every morning, and just having this has been a part of my consistent creative practice. Even if I didn't have the energy to do anything else, I'd get up and I'd get on live, and it would typically, I usually feel a lot better when I'm done than I do when I start. So it kind of gives me some momentum, gives me something to look forward to, and it's a great source of connection with other people. So this is something, just doing this every day has been something, it's something that kind of gets me up. Also, I guess music is a powerful tool to pick myself up on the worst of days. So Alexis mentions mood shifters, watching something funny to reset laughter. Absolutely. Being in here, playing games. That is Alexis' way to kind of turn things around. Yeah. So it's good to have these, you need a toolkit. You need a collection of tools and approaches that you can use as a go-to. You're not always going to have the energy or ability to turn to those things. Some days it's just like, okay, I got up and I brushed my teeth. Okay, and sometimes you need some help. You need some support and connections with people you can't do it alone, and you're not required to. So I think that one of the things that's important in terms of having the connections and the people in our lives who can provide that level of emotional support and a positive word, whether those people exist IRL or they have or friends that you have around the world, having an open and safe space where you can just exist and feel appreciated. I think that's an important part of being able to turn your situation around. So I feel like if Alex is here, welcome in, Alex. Thanks for hanging out with us this morning. We're talking about our ever expanding sense of possibility. What are some things that are possible for you now that weren't possible? You can keep that. We can keep this up in the background. We're up around the top of the hour. So I want to take a few minutes as y'all continue to consider this to, maybe do some plugs, So if you're listening here and this is not somewhere you usually are, welcome and thank you for being here. This is Morning Journal and you're tuned in to session number 171. That's right, 171 mornings in 2021. Weekday mornings, we've been live at 6 a.m. Eastern, and we've been having conversations like this, conversations designed to, provide a space of personal reflection, a place of connection with others and solidarity with others who share a common experience with us, a place where we can support each other and in a cool vibe and also have a little fun as well. So I encourage you, if you aren't following me here on Spoon, or if you're not following me on YouTube, or I guess subscribing on YouTube would be the thing to do. I encourage you to do that so that you don't miss these weekday morning streams. I would really love it if you do that. And yes, we are live on Spoon as well as we are streaming video on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So if you, I will say the cool experience, the best audio experience is on Spoon. But if you want to see my face and do a fit check, I ain't doing nothing too tough today. Just got on a t-shirt, ain't hurting too bad. Sometimes I get on camera and I be hurting them. But today it's just regular t-shirt day, keeping it cool. So if you want to see me, you can come over on YouTube. And also YouTube is a great place to catch the replays because we do save those there. So Peachy's asking a lot of great questions. Another one, how do you keep yourself positive when you don't feel appreciated? And Alexis is giving a great insight. I get assertive and make sure that people notice me. Like, hey, here I am. I'm here. It happens a lot with people talking to Noble and ignoring me. Yeah, that's a bummer. Peachy says, I just fire it up. Bex says, I appreciate the effort on the fits. Yeah, Bex, I'm glad. I know I've been going easy on Bex today. Bex has been on the quiet side. I hope you had a great weekend. All right. Also, and y'all let me know if you are streaming on your normal schedule. I'm not sure if there's anyone who's streaming who has a scheduled stream for today, but I know that tomorrow is typically Gamer Shop at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, followed up by live gameplay with Noble and Alexis. So follow Noble Ancient for Gamer Shop and follow Alexis Autumn Elf for just a live chat and gameplay immediately following Noble. So yeah, I know that a lot of people are still on sort of a holiday schedule. I know that Mo had some tonsil, is on medical leave right now with the tonsils. With the holidays, people are on a different schedule. So we're going to be kind of chilling this week, I'm sure, but hopefully folks will be back in the groove here soon. Also, just as a note for folks, I'm not sure anyone is in here um, who was before they suspended the choice program back a couple months ago. They have reopened the choice program um, and revamped it. So I don't know, just as a heads up, if you meet the qualifications on Spoon to apply, I encourage you to apply if you want to kind of have the experience of the orange tag. I reapplied, so hopefully it'll work out. It'll work out for me. All right. So there's no Harley, there's no Bunny listening in. Hopefully tomorrow she'll be home. All right, let's get to the next prompt, y'all. Let's do it. Let's get to the next prompt. All right. All right. Hi, Teresa. Thank you so much for being here over on YouTube. So in our next prompt, so let's look at so we've talked about, or we tried to consider some expanded possibilities that we can recognize. Hey, Fairmolly, Fairmalil, Stony Buddy, welcome in. Thank you for being here this morning. Question at the moment: what is holding you back from offering your best? What is holding you back from offering your best? Now, I do understand, fully understand that our best is not always available to us. We're not always at 100%. Good morning. Tanya is listening in. Tanya is, I don't know, it's like a play aunt / I guess play aunt is what we call your honorary aunt. Thanks for listening in this morning. Stony Buddy, it's great to see you. Holding you back from offering your best. That's the question that we are considering right now. So I think that, yeah, ups and downs are sort of a natural part of our living experience. We aren't always at 100%. And we don't always exist at a constant peak, either physically, emotionally, or otherwise. So your absolute best is not always available. But I think sometimes we can recognize some obvious or not so obvious things that are blocking our flow and draining our energy in some ways that are keeping us out of the flow and keeping us from giving our highest level of contribution. So let me open up the request box. Fairmalil, thanks for the live. Stony Buddy, thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it. So what's holding you back? Man, it's so hard to go full out, right? I think it's rare, for many of us, it's rare that we actually go hard. So Stony Buddy is up, about to make some cereal. That's what's up. Everybody go ahead and put some green hearts in the chat. Mom is here. Great to see you. And Tanya says, sometimes it's people. People kind of hold you back from offering your best. Sometimes you are in a situation where you are under someone else's authority or leadership, or some systems in place that prevent you from doing what you know is best. No, Stony Buddy says not cereal, respectfully. No, respectfully, it is cereal. That's the code word. Get with it. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Peachy Mishi says, I feel like I have to hurt people to get to where I need to be, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings. That's a tough one. That's a really tough one, because I think that's a huge thing that holds a lot of people back. not wanting to hurt someone's feelings, um, or yeah, just being kind of tiptoeing and playing smaller than you need to play in order to accommodate someone else's level of comfort. We play smaller. We don't shine because we don't want to offend someone with our shining. You know, I feel that. But I think that for the people who matter and for the people who want the best for you, I think they they're not going to come at you like that. Like they want to see you thrive. And if someone is hurt by your growth, then you might want to take a look at the role that relationship is playing in your life, and if it needs to continue in that way. You know? So I don't know. So for Alexis, very directly, I guess what's holding you back from offering your best is being sick. First off, but mostly what is holding me back is my own self-doubt and self-sabotage. I want to write and make up tons of excuses why I can't. So yeah, self-doubt is holding you back. Like, can I do this? Can I do this? Am I really about that life? Yeah, definitely. I apologize. I'm trying to fix something here. 1 second. It's like, why did it get so quiet? Be like that sometimes. All right. So our own self-doubt standing in the way, holding us back from offering our best. Also, heads up, we got some ramen recipe recommendations from Stony Buddy. Eggs, hot dogs. I've been there, done that. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I think a great way to do it, you can really get fancy with it. Why have ramen just plain? You can do a lot with it. All right. So let's think about what might be holding you back from offering your best. I think there are those external things. For some of us, we're not necessarily taking care of ourselves as well as we should. We're not getting the amount of sleep that we need. We are overbooked and overcommitted. We have too many things that we are taking responsibility for in our experience. Too many things that we are doing that we may not need to be doing. Maybe the food that we're putting in our bodies might be holding us back from offering our best. If you feel like you need to have a nap every time you eat, So Stony Buddy says, I've never known what my best was other than school. So I'm surprising myself, respectfully. I think that's an interesting insight, because a lot of times when we don't have a clear way of measuring, when we don't have the structure, that institution that can give us a grade to tell us, sometimes we don't even know what we're capable of. So I think it's important to put in place ways that we can, exist in the things that we do, where we get the feedback to know, okay, that was good. What's happening is in the building. Thank you for joining us this morning. So what do we have? How do we even know what our best is? I think a lot of times Sometimes competition brings out the best in you. Engaging or having someone that you are collaborating with in a competitive way, um, that can help raise the level of your game. Um, and sometimes we're in situations where we don't have a clear measurement, and sometimes we might be a little shy to get the feedback because sometimes you don't put your stuff out there because you don't want to deal with that criticism and you're missing on opportunities to grow. Stony Buddy adds to the comment, growing up in a negative household, I have a hard time showing myself that I did my best. Yeah, so like if you grow up in an environment where it's never good enough, it's hard to even acknowledge when you do things well. So we have that same internal dialogue when it comes to what we're doing, because why try hard if it's going to be rejected? You don't have the muscle of going full out because it's just going to get shot down. The stakes are so high. Karen Angel, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Let us know what's holding you back from offering your best. So Noble Ancient is offering the insight that my internal conflicts and created excuses are holding me back from offering my best. I also have a shot sleep schedule, and that doesn't help at all. Yeah. Not sleeping well, so you never feel sharp and present. It's keeping you from being in your A game. So I think that when we are used to dealing with a lot of external criticism and we haven't built up enough confidence in our ability to do the things that we set out to do, we have to kind of approach ourselves with almost a level of kindness and almost a sense of play. I think that the emotional stakes of giving your best effort are pretty high, especially if you are used to kind of hedging to protect yourself from criticism. Actually trying hard and maybe looking silly can be an emotionally perilous situation to put yourself in. So Stony Buddy's leaving some love over here as well. Thank you so much for popping through. Wham is here. Good to see you this morning, Wham. Thanks for being here. I don't know, someone anonymously shares that what's holding you back is thirst, I guess. Stony Buddy says, you look handsome, G, respectfully. Thank you. Respectfully. I think that, I think a neat thing about games and sports is it gives us a model for what it looks like to give a high level of effort. Our real lives are not that clear. Like Stony Buddy was saying before, outside of school, I don't even know what the best looks like because I don't have these clear goals, or like I don't have that grade in front of me. So what am I comparing myself to? How do I know? Well, I think the good news is that there's nothing that's stopping you from creating your own standards and holding yourself to those standards, And those are the ones that matter the most, the ones that you set up for yourself. And allow me to add, in case no one has told y'all today, Wham is here to tell y'all that y'all are beautiful and important. I appreciate that, Wham. Noble says, I don't have anyone other than myself to compare myself to. Well, it's not necessarily even about comparing yourself because it's not personal. But if you are, it's not necessarily about comparing yourself, it's about comparing your work, because your work is going to be in the marketplace, whether you intend for it to be in competition or not. The fact is that you are going to be in competition for dollars and attention. Um, you know, so understanding where it fits and how it sits and how you can make your message clear and understood is something that you have to, or that you might need to figure out if you want to reach the number of people or reach the right people for whom your work is a good fit. So it's not necessarily about personal comparison, because you are not what you do, right? I think we started the conversation with who you are and what you do. Your value and worth is not predicated on what you create. What you create is what you create. So your own uniqueness and the things that make you special don't cease to exist if you produce something that is not received the way that you expect. But understanding how your work is positioned and understanding what your level of progress has been on the journey, that's a valuable and useful way to look at that. So measuring yourself against your own progress and your journey, that is the most effective way to think about that. And trying to set yourself up to win, trying to set yourself up to win. All right. Are we ready to go to the next prompt? Do we need a little bit more time with this one? Let me know. Drop a heart in the chat if we are ready. So Wham is here on break at work. Hey, we got some pineapples, folks. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Stony Buddy. Dottie Chill, welcome in. Thank you for joining us this morning. I really like that profile pic. Dottie Chill. All right, let's get into the next bit of the conversation. Thank you. Thanks so much, Tony Buddy. I really appreciate the support. Uh-oh, I feel like I'm missing something. Hold on. All right. I'm gonna need a second. For some reason, my I gotta search for this because it didn't fall in with the rest of the prompts. So we recognize some of the things that hold us back. We recognize the fact that we've had wins before, that we are capable of things when we're at our best. And we recognize and acknowledge that we want to get into the habit of celebrating those things and using those past victories, keeping them front of mind so that we have the courage to try the next thing. So we want to invest that. Those expanded possibilities and that increased sense of kind of personal capacity or personal efficacy is sort of the technical term for it. Recognizing and seizing whatever power we have available at the moment to make choices about where we want to go next. And one of the most powerful things that you can do is shift your language about the activities that you engage in, from things that you have to do to things that you choose to do, because you are what you are saying when you are choosing is that you are making a conscious choice and you're not simply a victim of your circumstances. You're not merely beholden to the things that are being required of you by others. Not to say that you don't have responsibilities and things that, you would be better served to do than not, but by framing it as a choice that you're making rather than a requirement from someone else, it gives you more energy and more power to actually get it done. So you choose to do these things. You're just making a choice among, uh, you know, you choose to renew your license because you would prefer not to get a ticket. You know, you don't have to renew your license. You could ride dirty, but you choose to because you prefer going through the hassle to getting a ticket. So that's a choice that you're making. So as we think about that, let's think about the possibilities that we're willing to commit to willingly. Um, there's no force here. Nobody's forcing. This is a willing and voluntary experience. Oh, everybody needs some PPs in their day, positive pineapples. So yeah, let's think about it. What possibility are you willing to commit to? We recognize that there are possibilities available to us that weren't available before for any number of reasons, whether those reasons be our own personal growth or just new things that exist in the world or new relationships or opportunities that did not exist before but are here now. So, with all of that, is there something that comes to your mind that you're willing to commit to? I choose to work more than I have to today. I always stop when I make enough, but I will willingly do better. I choose to work more than I have to. I choose to do a little extra. Kichimishi's gonna get ready to go. Well, thank you so much for joining. And I really appreciate your contributions in the chat. Like you brought us some really engaging and great questions. So it's nice having you here. And I hope that you have a great day. And tell the old man downstairs what's up. So Noble Ancient says the possibility that I am willing to commit to is to learn at least one new thing in either game design or in personal growth to create an even more positive adventure in my day. So learn one new thing, intentional thing. I think that personal growth is extremely important. So important that it's probably worth having a plan, building a curriculum for yourself. If there were things, if you could build a curriculum for yourself, looking at your experience and looking at what it is that you're trying to create, what are some of the things that you can intentionally bring, to learn to make that eventuality more certain, right? What could you learn that would make the journey more fruitful? We can recognize the gaps in our knowledge and our experience, and we can choose not to do anything about it and continue to struggle, or we can choose to pursue a deeper level of knowledge and understanding and skill so that we can sort of transcend the current struggle and move into a higher level of challenge. So be intentional about that personal growth and be voluntarily committed to the learning. I think one of the most damaging things that people experience in an educational environment is a lot of times people learn to hate school, or people hate school so they learn to hate learning. They equate a bad experience in school with, you know, an unwillingness to engage in voluntary learning, and that's tragic. You know, school and learning are not the same thing. So even if you struggle inside the traditional structure for whatever reasons, you might have fallen through the cracks, and you dread that sort of structure. Voluntarily learning things that are meaningful to you is a whole new ball game, and I encourage you to kind of embark on that journey. You'd be amazed. So another person is sharing anonymously. The possibility that I'm willing to commit to is love if the girl I'm talking to, um, let me see if I can, if soon. Oh man, we're gonna struggle through this one. Let's see. I'm willing to commit to love if the girl I'm talking to, um, this is anonymous, so I don't want you to say anything, but man, some punctuation would sure be nice. Oh man. Okay. Willing to commit to love so you can finally have the void in your heart filled and maybe get more control of my others' desires. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to butcher that, but help me help you. Like, because I don't know where any of this starts, but I get the gist of it. I think we get the gist of it. Willing to commit to love if everything kind of works out. So Peachy Michi came back in to ask a favor. What's the favor? All right. So let's think about what possibilities are we willing to commit to? What is something that, given where we are right now, coming down to the end of the year, this is not your resolution. This is just a commitment that you're making. So Peachy Michi says, could you reshare the picture about possibilities? Let me see. I have a limited number of background changes. So what I can do, I will post that one on my, I will post that background on a post here. So if you're following me, you can just go to my post and then you can screenshot it from there. If that's helpful. Abby is back. Starverse is here. Thank you so much for. Yeah, Peachy's about to shut down the stream. If I flip back, they're gonna be like, nope. All right. So let's see here. Alexa, answer this prompt through me. They're AFK from that phone as it's charging. So the Alexis's answer is to do one thing every day that is self-care related. So we're going to take care of ourselves out here. We're going to do something every day that is self-care related. Nemo is here. Welcome in, Nemo. Thank you for joining us. Right now, we're talking about the possibilities that we're willing to commit to. Now, I know if you're coming in cold, you're like, man, I'm not here to make no commitments. I'm just vibing. And I invite you to just come in and vibe. But if you've been here through a considerable part of the conversation, we're not talking about making resolutions. We're not talking about requirements or obligations. These are things that you're just willing to commit to. It's a voluntary, willing thing that you have the power to do that can maybe make your experience a little bit better today than it was yesterday. Goth X3, thank you for joining us. Welcome in. All right, so we're going to get ready to go into the next. I don't know what happened to my sound. We're going to get ready to go to the next prompt. If y'all are ready, drop me a heart in the chat and we can do that. All right, so we're going to have to reset that, no problem. All right, here we go. All right, so now let's take a look. Let's just kind of take a look ahead. We've been kind of thinking about sort of big picture things. Let's kind of bring it down into sort of a nearer term thing and kind of hone in on what our experience is kind of right now. We're going to start by looking back at this past weekend, and I recognize that this weekend was maybe different than most weekends in your life. But think back about what was the most meaningful moment that you experienced. Like what experience are you basically coming into this conversation from? The most meaningful moment of your weekend. I would say definitely for me, I don't know if you had the opportunity to see family and friends, but definitely seeing people who I haven't seen in a long time was a meaningful experience. So we're going to start by looking back over the past couple days, because at the end of the day, we can do all kinds of stuff. And we can get caught up in all different types of obligations that are significant to everyone but us, you know? So we want to look at the things that are meaningful for us as we start to look at the decisions that we're going to make and the commitments that we're going to make going forward. Because I think one of the biggest cures for procrastination in the world is recognizing that the thing that you were putting off doesn't need to be done at all because it's not important. That's a huge time management hack. It's not doing things that you don't need to do. And you've saved 100% of that time. And I think that our assessments of what's meaningful are a great sort of measuring stick as we decide what's next. Being aware of the types of experiences that are most valuable to us, and then being intentional about seeking out those types of meaningful experience and designing our days and our weeks and our time more around meaning than around, obligation or even entertainment. I mean, entertainment is important. But sometimes, you can just lose all your time. So for Retha, it was conversations about life choices was the most meaningful moment of the weekend. Yeah, I think having real sincere conversations, having real talk, opening up lines of communications with people that you care about is extremely meaningful, because there's so much time that we spent that has been spent not saying things that need to be said, and then finally coming to the point where you're having conversations and building a deeper, more meaningful connection with the people in your life. That's certainly something that's valuable. So I can appreciate that for sure. So for Abby, my baby almost started to crawl. He's also grew in a second tooth. So it was a pretty big weekend. All those once in a lifetime milestones that are coming up for you as a mother and for your baby, you definitely want to be present emotionally and be in a situation where you can fully appreciate that. So that's exciting. That's truly exciting, Abby. I'm happy for you. So for Alexis, the meaningful life choices or meaningful moments. I'm looking at the other thing on the side. The meaningful moment of the weekend was playing Holiday Flux with Noble, and he drew the dreidel card. I asked if he knew the dreidel song. I did because I grew up Jewish. He says no, because I never celebrated Hanukkah. So it was a teaching moment. So just a moment of connection, sort of a random moment of connection where you got a chance to share a little bit about yourself and your past. And yeah, it's fun to open up. Hold on a second. He said Kwanzaa. Oh. Oh. He's like, I don't know the dreidel song. I never celebrated Kwanzaa. That would make it a more that would make it even a more of a funny remark. I don't know anything about a dreidel. I don't celebrate Kwanzaa. Oh man. So Abby says it's like every time he hits a milestone, I do my makeup that day. Needless to say, it's off by the end because you're bawling your eyes out. So Stony Buddy says, I got to spend time with my fam. Usually there's stuff being thrown, but it was calm and peaceful this weekend, and that was nice. So a break from some of the drama and just being able to exist peacefully with your family, that was meaningful. Definitely can appreciate that. DJ Prodigy is here. What's up, Prodigy? What it do? Meaningful moment of the weekend is what we're talking about right now. So the fact that there were no fireworks, it kind of lets you know how, the degree to which you value having that peace and calm. And, when there are other people involved, sometimes a lot of that is out of your control, but you understand how good that feels, and you might try to think about ways that you can create more of that in your experience and your relationships. The candy cane spoon is back. Good to see you again, Aro. So for Noble, the meaningful moment was weekend day 3 and 4 of Silver Holiday. So enjoying the holidays has to be my answer for this prompt. The most meaningful moment of the weekend, even more specific, was time with Alexis. Yeah. So, I would say that one of the things about the holiday season, whichever holidays you happen to share, whatever traditions you are a part of, how elaborate or how into it you are, it is definitely a time where there is a lot of sort of cultural messaging. Sometimes there's a lot of sort of consumerism messaging. There's a lot of things that can kind of impose upon us ideas about what we should be doing and wanting to do and acting. Sometimes there are some traditions that we have outgrown that we continue to perpetuate for reasons that we don't understand. So being willing to fully check in with yourself and understand what's meaningful and important to you, and then having the courage and willingness to try to design your experience around that rather than all the things that have been thrown at you through advertisement and social media or all the other sources of quote unquote inspiration that we consume in order to see what's going on. I think that's a worthwhile approach to designing a life that is a little bit better today than it was yesterday. Lana Dune, welcome in. It's nice to see you this morning. I hope that things are going well for you. Prodigy, thank you so much for dropping the like. I appreciate that. All right. Taking a couple deep breaths here. We got time for one more prompt. Before we get into it, I want to take a second once again to acknowledge our anonymous listeners who are not logged in. I want to acknowledge the folks who tuned in over the course of the stream over on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. I really appreciate everyone's participation. I know that a lot of folks are watching on the replay on the video side. I encourage you to leave comments if you're listening on YouTube and you're not subscribed. Go ahead and subscribe, man. Do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And also leave comments. If you listen back on the replay, leave comments underneath, and I'll be glad. You want to respond to the prompts through comments on YouTube, I'd love that. And yeah, we are coming down to the last 15 minutes or so. And it's been good. It's been a Monday. Mondays are always a little like this. I'm a little wobbly on Mondays. I have a couple of days off, but I really appreciate everybody for their participation. Shout out to Stony Buddy, who checked in on YouTube as well. Stony, are you going live today? Are you going to be streaming? I'm not sure exactly what your schedule is, but I would be happy to let folks know when to check you out, when to hang out with you and your peeps over there. Yeah, go ahead and drop in the chat. Let us know when you are streaming. If you have sort of so you stream like right around now. You can slide over from this stream and slide into a conversation with Stony Buddy. That'd be cool. We do have another response, an anonymous response to the question. Shout out to Steve over on YouTube listening in. It's good to see you this morning, fam. So anonymous response, meaningful moment of the weekend. That one of my friends helped me with something that I needed. So knowing that you have people who are willing to help you, that's a great feeling to know that you're not in it by yourself. Quasha is here. Good morning, Quasha. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you had a great Christmas. Jesus Control says a little too early this morning. Yeah, it's a little, We good though. We good. All right. If we are ready, let me just do a quick roll call, shout out, rundown, and a special thanks to everyone who's helping out. Esso is here. I know y'all haven't heard from Esso. Esso's probably winding down. Princess Baby has just joined us. Welcome in. Stony Buddy. Like we say, I really appreciate your energy and positivity, respectfully. Always nice to see you. Abby is here, fresh off of a wonderful weekend of beautiful milestones with your baby. We have Noble Ancient, the legendary one himself, host of the Gamer Shop, which make sure you check that out tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So follow Noble Ancient there. And Alexis Autumn Elf is here as well. You can catch Alexis Chasing Noble stream on tomorrow, followed by Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for ROA, Armistice Games special experience, listening in live to gameplay. And then Alexis is also going to be hosting mental health streams on Thursdays. That is at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, I believe. Yeah, I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, it's 7 p.m. Eastern or Pacific on Thursdays for the mental health stream, I believe. Okay. We tried. Also, thanks and shout out to Quasha, Purple Gang representative in the house. It's always great to see you. Wham is here, always spreading love and positivity. Lana Dune, Alex, and then one anonymous user. If you are listening in, thank you for joining us here. Let's get ready to get into our last prompt of the day. Kind of looking forward to the week ahead. One more prompt. What are you looking forward to this week? That's the question. What are you looking forward to this week? For a lot of folks, this is kind of a weird between the holidays limbo time. But I think with the New Year, with Christmas and the New Year falling on the weekend, they can actually get a good full week out of y'all. A lot of folks went right on back to work today with no unceremoniously, just right back to work. Break over. Let's go. So for Tanya is looking forward to rest. Looking forward to rest. Yeah, sometimes we need a holiday from the holiday. So just being able to rest is a great thing to look forward to. Underoos is here. Welcome in, Underoos. Thank you for joining us. Let us know, what are you looking forward to this week? What's the big thing on your calendar, on your to-do list, on your radar that you are excited about? So Abby is looking forward to getting my nails did in the mall so I can practice doing nail art. I'm not sure which package, but one of them is going to be here tomorrow. Get my nails done. Okay, I've read that wrong. Let's read it again. I'm really looking forward to getting my nails done in the mail. I'm so confused right now. I'm getting my nails in the nail so you can practice your nail art. I'm not sure which package is coming. Okay, got it. Okay. So you're getting the kit. You're going to do the nails. So Lana Dune is looking forward to sushi and studying. Sushi and studying. That sounds like a pretty good, combination. Kind of a luxurious combination. Some sushi, some studying. So Alexis is looking forward to spoiling a bunny once she gets home later today, spending time with Noble and trying to catch up more of my growing stack of pen pal letters. Alexis is sharing correspondence. A stack of pen pal letters. We got the Hold Up TV in the house. What up, Steve? Happy holidays, man. It's good to see you. What are you looking forward to this week? I know that one thing, special thing coming up, there is a special, I want to do this plug. I know that the Hold Up TV is having a special guest hopefully, let me know if it's still on tomorrow night on Green Room. If you have Green Room, if you know what Green Room is, it is it's another audio streaming app that is from Spotify, but Conversations That Matter is exclusively on Green Room now, and I think Steve has a special guest. I don't know if it's um, Steve's like, the music switch from here is great. Yeah, Spoon always gets gets the live joint. He gets the sauce. The quality jump in the audio is just like, wow, right? Yeah, but Steve has a special guest on Conversations That Matter tomorrow night. So if you're already over there and you're following Steve from Hold Up TV, make sure that you check that out. So, yeah. So let's go through the things that we're looking forward to this week. So Noble Ancient says, since I take my life one day at a time, this week will be set up that way too. One midnight reset at a new day's adventure, gearing up to get going again. So Stony Buddy says, I have nothing specific going on this week, but I look forward to seeing what my best is. Looking forward to discovering what your best is. So everybody got to watch out. Stony Buddy ain't playing with y'all no more. It's about to get real out here. Everybody watch out. So another live with G as a host, at least in every moment when I get to spend time working, learning how to control urges without having to cling. Okay. So you're looking forward to making it into another one of the lives, and then looking forward to just kind of growing in your sort of emotional intelligence and ability to navigate relationships. Controlling urges without someone to cling to. So Underoos is looking forward to some very expensive gifts coming in from Amazon, plus the financial aid money for school, which I will use to buy a 4K TV. There you go. Yeah, you need a 4K TV so that you can see all of your video lectures and materials in Ultra HD. So Quasha is looking forward to getting your daughter's birthday prepared this week. That's awesome. Are we turning 4? What are we turning 4 this week? That sounds about right. 4 or 5, something like that. December, baby. Or maybe your daughter's birthday's in April and you're just trying to get a head start. I don't know. Oh, she's 6, turning 7? She's 6. Oh, wow. It's like, my bad. All right. Yeah, she was doing homework. I should know better. So Tanya says, I really enjoy watching you live and the questions are great. That made me think about where I want to see myself in the future. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for joining. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It's awesome. Okay. Yeah, my bad. I messed up. I misread. This is going to be a great birthday. If you're getting ready now. So Stony Buddy has a 6-year-old as well. That's awesome. It's great that y'all have these young ones getting ready to experience all these major milestones. All right, looking forward to the week. I'm looking forward to another series of great sessions here on the Morning Journal. We'll be back tomorrow morning, of course, at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, live right here on Spoon for the crisp audio HD listening experience. And we'll also be live on video on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful participation. Let me pull up. I got to cue up the outro music for y'all. I know it wouldn't be complete without the outro. Let me find it. All right, here we go. All right, you hear this? It's an opportunity. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. All right, so you hear this? This is an opportunity for y'all to spam the chat. Positive pineapples in the chat. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining. We'll see you tomorrow morning.